All right, fastest 15 minutes on the internet, fastest 15 minutes in social media, fastest 15 minutes wherever you go. I'm Judson Powell, and I guess I'm with the fastest 15 minutes. Since it's faster than all the other 15 minutes, I'm transcending time and space. Anyway, time and space, that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the spiritual aspects of everything that's going on. And it's really kind of funny that all this stuff is going on, basically talking about the mass shootings, war, all of this stuff that's going on right now. And there is, in the United States of America, there is a spiritual reason for it. First thing I want to get off is the fact that the most heinous, murderous, diabolical, maniacal people on the face of the earth is the Caucasian male. And if you go back, that's why they don't want critical race theory taught in schools. That's why they don't want you to teach the true history of the country, because the foundation of the country is slavery, rape, murder, sodomy, all these different things that were going on. So now, how does that impact everybody spiritually? Because that is your foundation. Whatever you keep on building and whatever you keep on saying and whatever you keep on doing, eventually it becomes a curse. It becomes a generational curse. Just like we have certain areas in the United States, certain cities in the United States that have very high crime rates and stuff like that. But is it that they really have high crime rates, or is it that the police just go into those areas more often and do things? Because in my experience, I have seen that Caucasian offenders have more drugs, more everything than black offenders. And then the other night, we're watching First 48. And for some reason, these are like old episodes. My wife is sitting there watching, and I'm watching them with her. And I'm figuring out, I'm like, well, there was like this one episode, and these three guys went to prison for life because they robbed somebody for some marijuana. And the proceeds and the money to marijuana. Now, this was several years ago, before all these states started to legalize marijuana. And if you notice, the only states that have not legalized marijuana are those states that are police states, and they want to continue to use those federal laws and their state laws in order to keep locking people up, and especially black folks. So now you got the foundation. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to talk about something from the Bible, okay? But please listen, please do not think that you know any religious book unless you have studied the science of the Moors, because they wrote all of them. So do not assume that you know something unless you've studied Moorish science. You don't know, because they wrote under duress, and they wrote as slaves, and they wrote in order so that the Caucasians couldn't understand or couldn't figure the code out in order to use it. All right. But of course, several hundred years later, there were people that, as usual, that sold out, right? And so that's how things evolved. So now people that really know about the Moors and know about the code, they have a leg up on everybody else, because most people just walk around quoting nondescript Bible verses for the, because they heard the shit in church, but they don't know what it means. I mean, let's be honest. That's what happens. So, and in the black church, there's like a church vernacular that if you don't understand or you don't know that vernacular, then you're not considered to be a good member of the church. So, so stuff like I'm too blessed to be stressed, too anointed to be disappointed, and all those little sayings that they have in the church that actually mean not diddly. So I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. Okay, so if either y'all want the truth or y'all want me to sugarcoat the bull crap like everybody else does. All right. But the foundation of the United States of America, because it was founded upon such a heinous and diabolical system of slavery, that is our spiritual foundation. And you have to understand that these white men who were the plantation owners, that's why they made you call them, you had to call them Lord or Master and all that kind of stuff. And that's because they understood the Moorish code. So whatever I call you, if I keep calling you that all the time, right? And then what happens? We know the laws of manifestation. So if I do something, then I work towards it, right? And I keep on working towards it, then eventually it's going to come to pass and it's going to be true. And so if the same thing is true, if I call you Lord and I call you Master, that's why they called their children, they would call their young men, they would call them Master, blah, 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 whatever their name was. So they were just lining them up to take over these plantations. All right. We know about the whole thing with buck busting and all that kind of stuff, which was nothing but slave masters sodomizing men in front of the women and children. And what that did was psychologically and spiritually, it made the black male have less prowess, because they wanted them to be big and strong, but they didn't want them to really form families, in which we already know that the family unit is the original Trinity. That is the Trinity: mother, father, and then children. That is the original Trinity. But they did everything they could to bust up this Trinity. So they're sending what? They're sending bad spiritual energy and spiritual vibration and spiritual karma into the universe. And this went on for 400 to 600 years. And so now, in the words of Malcolm, the chickens have come home to roost. So that's why all these young white guys, all these young teenage white guys, that's why they're afflicted. And even in the Bible, if you go to the Bible, and that's why I tell all of these Hebrew Israelites and all this bull crap that they got going around here, making new religions up and all that kind of stuff. Let me explain something to you. All right. There is nothing in the Bible that is about you except the curses. Because they rewrote everything so that you would be cursed. And that's the spiritual foundation that they laid. But you can't curse somebody. Here we go. You cannot curse somebody. You cannot curse somebody and not be affected by it yourself. Because eventually, whatever you did, remember, we operating on karma. And remember, so whatever you did, it's going to eventually come back around to you. So that's why all this stuff is going on, because and everybody is making this thing, but it's not mental illness, it's spiritual. That's why we got different agendas that we got going on. And then to find out that the Texas shooter, that he was non-gender or whatever. I don't even know what to call him. Not trying to disrespect anybody or anything like that, because all lives should have the right to live. But you cannot continue to sodomize men for 400 years and emasculate men for 400 years and then think that it ain't going to happen to you and your men. All right? And remember, the curses, the first few curses are like right there at the beginning. What? Jealousy, fear, envy. That's why and fratricidal, homicidal stuff. Cain killed Abel. So spiritually, if I keep on reiterating that, that's nothing but fratricide. That's what you got going on in Chicago and Detroit and Cleveland and all of these, Philadelphia. That's what's going on. That's why black males are killing black males, because it's spiritual. And then they came in and said, we're going to kill what? The firstborn. We're going to kill all the firstborn of Egypt. That's us. I don't care what y'all say, and go back and research it till the cows come home. But when they put that in there, and then they were like, okay, then over the doorpost put the blood and all this kind of stuff, and it was a Akashic curse. That's what Jesus is. You eat his flesh, you drink his blood, and supposedly that carnage is supposed to protect you. So what's going on now? Because of that, we have people that are kidnapping, trafficking children, and I've heard some crazy stuff. I believe it. They, what are they doing to stay? The reptilians, like we talk about the Queen all the time, but how do these people survive? And it's like, I believe they're doing something with fetuses. I believe that they kidnap these children, and they believe that if they have sex with these children and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, this stuff is horrible. But it's the foundation, because nobody never told the Caucasian male no. They weren't told no for over 400 years. Nobody told them they couldn't do whatever they wanted to. So they were raping and pillaging every black woman, every black man. And it's male and female. So where you think you get homosexuality and bisexuality and all these things? These things are spiritual. Because not only do they deal with the body, but they deal with the mind. And nobody, so how do these things come about? Because it is written. It is written. So they wrote all of this stuff. We're going to go in, we're going to kill the firstborn males, the whole thing of that. And it still exists to this day. And especially the people that believe in the Bible. I mean, I'm talking about blindly believe in the Bible, where they say everything, and don't get the game twisted, because it's not the word of God, it's the word of King James and the people he hired. I mean, hey, y'all don't want the truth. Anyway, fast 15 minutes is up. My name is Judson Powell. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button, and leave me a message if you don't believe what I said.